I'm just still blown away that Justin Trudeau has literally invited a Nazi into Parliament, or the House Speaker literally invited a Nazi into Parliament. It's really just unbelievable. If you're still in shock and awe 5 or 6 days later, the way I am, I'm going to go out and say that that's valid. You feel your emotions, your feelings are validated, because it's just so weird and bizarre and crazy, but it actually happened. And I think I'm going to be in this state of mind for quite some time, but also scandal after scandal, it doesn't end. Tensions are rising with India. Tensions are rising with Russia and Ukraine. Tensions are rising with China. We're giving all our money away. We're being taxed to death. Justin Trudeau did illegal drugs, cocaine on a plane in India. Like, I don't know where it ends. And now we've got a Nazi still living in Canada, by the way. Like, the dude still lives here. So what are we going to do about that? Are we just going to allow that to happen? I don't know. But welcome back to another video, everybody. Before we get into it, I want to encourage you to give a like and subscribe if you haven't already. It really helps grow the channel, as well as remind you about the stickers down in the description, and as well as the pinned comment below. I did not see that coming. We are very close to being sold out. They are getting eaten up. This is incredible. I'm very curious to know where everyone's putting them. If you're putting them on like microphones or on coffee mugs, on the back of your phone, on gas stations. Like, I'd love to know where people are getting them, because I'm noticing that the majority are not just one sticker. People are buying groups of them, like 4, 5, 6. The most I've seen is, I think, 10. So shout out to the individual who bought 10. You know who you are. Congratulations. Anyways, I did not see that. Link is down in the description, as well as the pinned comment below. Let's take a very quick look at how to get into Parliament. Like, it's relatively easy. They have guided tours. You can go on the visit.parl.ca, or you can just Google tours of Parliament. And it's pretty well advertised, and they just kind of walk you through how to do this. Guided tours of the Senate building, guided tours of House of Commons West Block, guided tours of East Block, and that's the main building. That I think that's where... That's the main one on Ottawa, like on the Capitol, in front of the fire ring, right? Like the main one that gets protested, where all the trucker convoy. That was like the one. Parliament, the Immersive Experience. So you can do a guided tour of East Block. It's 60 minutes. You get to walk through all of Parliament. Please arrive 5-10 minutes early. There's a phone number. You can go and check out where the times are. This is for October 1st. You can go and tour Parliament October 1st. Like, it's relatively easy to do that. Now, the difference between us doing that and invited guests is we can't just go and do this tour when there's an invited guest, such as a president of the United States, president of Ukraine, because it's different. You're comparing, I've done this comparison in a previous video, you're comparing like a grade 8 prom, or like a middle school or high school prom, to like a wedding, or a pee-wee hockey game to like the NHL. Like, it's totally different. Security is way heightened. They have to know every single person that's in the area, what they're doing. I mean, it's insane, as you can imagine, when you have multiple global leaders or world leaders in one area. You got security is heightened on both ends, right? Using each other's resources, communicating. So it's kind of weird that, I mean, if you're a Nazi, you could just essentially walk through Parliament through these guided tours, because they don't do background checks for this. You book, you show up, you pay a ticket fee. I don't even know how much it costs. You go through like airport security, where you take all the metal off, you know, your chains, your watch, your shoes, whatever it is. You put it in a little detector. You're not allowed to bring a backpack in. You're not allowed to do any of that. I don't even think there's bathrooms, right? Because they don't want people in areas that, you know, there aren't camera operated and under surveillance. So it's pretty standard airport security for you and I to go in at any time. But again, when there's a big event, that's a different situation. So the question that we all must ask ourselves and each other is, under what circumstances could there have possibly been one of the most high profile guests show up in the House of Commons, and for them to not do their due diligence on the Ukraine side and on the Canadian side? It's just so bizarre and unlikely. And now our reputation is stained. It's just smeared. So when you Google what are Canadians known for, we've got politeness, multicultural Canada, ice hockey, the Rocky Mountains, Canadian wildlife, maple syrup, Vancouver, British Columbia, French and English, and Nazis. That is unfortunately what Canadians or Canada is going to be known for. And it makes me so internally emotional because I love this country. I love the people. I love what Canada has to offer. But because politics is just such a big thing worldwide right now, every country is kind of labeled based off of how they operate. America, it's a clown show. You have a president that can't even stay awake while he's giving a speech, right? Italy, you have a very based prime minister or president. She doesn't tolerate shit. Canada, we got a black-faced Nazi terrorist sympathizer. It's not looking good, folks. It's not looking good, especially when Justin Trudeau is now trying out a new mustache look. Let's take a look at this here. Trudeau attempts to distract Nazi controversy by growing a cool new mustache. Of course, this isn't real, photoshopped or AI. Nonetheless, it's still absolutely funny. Got a couple more memes here before we get into some videos. Missed me yet? Yeah, I think all of Canada can say, yeah, why don't you come back? Then you have Canada, the Ukraine hero, and Nazis in Parliament, just letting them in. And the reason why Canada's so afraid right now of this entire it's Russia propaganda is because there's been a lot of rumors, a lot of talk on social media, especially when the war broke out between Russia and Ukraine, that Ukraine was filled with Nazis. A lot of emblems on their helmets, a lot of insignias, a lot of different patches and things like that that can be linked to Nazis or affiliations to Nazis. And it's been just disregarded as propaganda, mis and disinformation. Media won't allow it. They try and debunk it every time, and life goes on. And now you have a Ukraine soldier who fought in World War II, who was just awarded as a hero, who was a literal Nazi and part of the kill squad for Hitler himself. It's not looking good for this entire it's propaganda, mis and disinformation campaign that the woke radical left seems to be trying so hard to bury, cover, distract us from, because we just invited a Nazi unknowingly, knowingly, whatever it is. We just invited a Nazi into Parliament. It's not looking good. And it really doesn't help that Justin Trudeau gives this half-ass, weak, piss-poor apology.
This was a mistake that has deeply embarrassed Parliament and Canada. All of us who were in this House on Friday regret deeply having stood and clapped, even though we did so unaware of the context. It was a horrendous violation of the memory of the millions of people who died in the Holocaust, and it was deeply, deeply painful for Jewish people. It also hurt Polish people, Roma people, 2S LGBTQI+ people, disabled people, racialized people, and the many millions who were targeted by the Nazi genocide.
I'm sorry. It hurt 2S LGBTQI+ people? I must have missed that on my live stream of Question Period when Trudeau gave an apology. But what? This is the first time that I'm actually aware of what he just said. Can somebody let me know down in the comments how a Nazi being invited and awarded as a hero in Parliament in front of Zelensky, how that has any whatsoever affiliation to 2S LGBTQI+ people? If you're going to group in Jewish people, Polish people, and gay people, there better be a really tangible link between them. And I'm just not getting it. This guy is so unhinged. He's so insane. He's constantly in a self-victimization state of mind where I didn't know, and I'm sorry. You should feel bad for me because I didn't know. I wasn't aware. And well, it doesn't help when you've got videos like this circulating that just really solidify the incompetence of the Canadian government.
We have here in the chamber today Ukrainian Canadian war veteran from the Second World War who fought the Ukrainian independence against the Russians and continues to support the troops today, even at his age of 98. He's a Ukrainian hero, a Canadian hero, and we thank him for all his service.
This is scary stuff, folks. The unit was responsible for the mass murder of innocent civilians with a level of brutality and malice that is unimaginable. Welcome to Canada. Why don't we just give you a standing ovation? And here's a remix sort of version, an edited version of the beginning of that video. Let's just take a look and you'll understand why this is becoming so popular.
We have here in the chamber today a literal Nazi. His name is Yaroslav Hunka, a Waffen SS soldier who pledged allegiance to Hitler, fought against our allies in the Soviet Union, and was complicit in the Holocaust. This man's a criminal. Not a great look for us.
Not a great look indeed. And I just don't know how Canada's reputation will ever be saved. And I really don't appreciate how mainstream media is sheltering the responsibility and the accountability that's held by Justin Trudeau and the Prime Minister's office. You are the government. You run the show. It's your job to make sure that you're doing your due diligence on everything. And if you don't do it, it's not other people's fault. That can be their fault, but it's also your fault. And I just don't like how mainstream media is sheltering Trudeau and not holding him to the level of responsibility that he should be held at.
Let's just begin with what we're seeing in Ottawa this morning. More Liberal ministers saying Rhoda did the right thing. Nothing from the PM. Any surprise?
Well, I am surprised that Mr. Trudeau hasn't shown up in the past couple of days. Canadians really have taken note of that, and Pierre Poilievre just scored heavily with that point in that very short and strong clip that he delivered. Look, everybody who knows anything about Parliament knows that this is not a decision of the government. Just the wording of Rhoda's speech made it clear that that was his personal initiative. Fine. It's Rhoda's fault. He did it, and he's resigned for it. Now, it's all of Canada that is bearing the weight of this incredible blunder. It's hurtful to all of us. And Mr. Trudeau has shown in the past, because he's apologized for a lot of things, that he knows how to apologize. So he's right now being put in a very tricky position by the Conservatives in particular, because the way Poilievre just teed that up, if Poilievre were to come in and apologize on behalf of what happened in Canada, and considering that it affects our vision in the world, look, I get calls right now. I'm speaking with journalists and other media types in Europe, and the question is, how could you have done that? And so it's no point saying, oh, it was Anthony Rhoda. They have never heard of Anthony Rhoda. They know Justin Trudeau, and they know Canada. And it's so out of character for Trudeau and for Canada to have this sort of thing stuck to them. Of course, he should issue the most sincere apology for what happened in the Canadian Parliament. But the way the Conservatives are playing it makes it extremely difficult for him to do that, because they're saying, he should apologize for what he did. It's not his fault for what happened. He didn't do it. But he is the head of our government. He's the head of the Canadian government. And for and on behalf of all Canadians who are mortified, just so sad and embarrassed that someone with that Nazi past was presented in our parliament at a solemn moment when Zelensky had just given an amazing Churchill-like speech that everybody applauded with good reason. All of a sudden this happens. It's not enough to say that it was Anthony Rhoda and he's gone. It's Canada that's got the black eye from this thing, and it's the Prime Minister of Canada, head of our government, who has to try as best he can to set it straight.
Okay, so
But the way to set it straight is by taking responsibility for what happened under your supervision. It's like a kid, right? If a kid gets in trouble, it is the kid's fault, right? But it's probably also the parents' fault for either not supervising, for allowing it to happen. Right? Like, you understand where I'm going with this? Justin Trudeau is responsible for what happens here in Canada, abroad, anything that has to do with Canada, especially Liberal members. The House of Speaker, yes, is a separate entity. It is independent. However, he's still a Liberal and used to be part of the Liberal caucus. And it's just like you have an invited guest. So what? Like Pierre Poilievre or any other member of parliament, Jagmeet Singh, can invite really bad dudes, criminals, right? For special events when Biden visits next, and they're not going to vet the person. It's just, it's such a level of incompetence that it's almost surreal that it actually happened. And this is also a very, very good thing for the Conservatives, because now they know what to do through experiencing what not to do at the expense of others. So when inevitably Pierre Poilievre and the Conservative Party of Canada become in power, they now know, no matter what, everyone we talk to, everyone that we invite, everyone we associate with, we're using our resources to make sure that they're clean, that they're vetted, and that what happened with Justin Trudeau and the Nazi is never to be repeated again. So this is a very good learning curve for the Conservatives to be in power. And also, like, you know, if you're going to do blackface, don't do it more than twice, because I feel like Justin Trudeau has done it more than twice and he's still in power. So don't push your luck, Pierre. It seems like you can paint your face black and go out dressed like that if you want. Just don't do it more than twice, and don't invite more than one Nazi. Certainly don't do 2 Nazis, and don't do 3 blackfaces. That's where we're going to end that video, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. I'd love to know what you guys think down below in the comments about any of the topics that I've covered, as well as remind you that the I did not see that coming stickers are available down in the description, as well as the pinned comment below. I will see you all in the next one. Bye for now. Thanks so much for making it to the end of the video. If you want to support the channel financially, you can do so by checking out the merch shop linked right up there. Or if you want to do something for free, which is also absolutely acceptable and highly encouraged, you can subscribe right there. If you want to continue watching videos like this, you can do so by clicking or tapping right there to watch the next upcoming video. And if you want to watch a little bit of different content, but also Canadian stuff, you can do so by clicking right up there. That's my second channel, House of Canada, also known as the House of Commons Highlights. Thank you so much for watching. I look forward to seeing you in the next video.